Actually, our topic about beta culture, how new mindset transforms business, I would like to introduce a bit more interactive, especially for you. And therefore, we make a test. So I think, not a test actually. Everybody of you has a sheet of paper and a pen, right? By the way, where are all the other people? So there are so many empty seats. So they disappear. Okay, you take a sheet of paper and a pen. So please. Okay. And now you get 30 seconds, and you can choose to what side you are looking to draw your neighbor. I look at my imaginary watch here.
I can do the timing.
Oh no, Lena is taking the time. And you draw your neighbor. Just do it. The time starts.
No, I cannot.
Did you do it already?
I cannot do 30 seconds.
Okay, Lena, Bianca has started. Okay, you already started. Okay, 30 seconds. To Mars. No spying. Everybody for himself.
I'm kind of drawing you.
Oh, some people are not drawing.
Sorry, aber es ist einfacher zu malen ohne Haare. Das ist erst einfacher zu malen ohne Haare.
Time is up. No, stop. Okay. You have what you have. So now you show it to the neighbor you draw. Please.
Sorry, there is a lot of sorries and there is a lot of laughter.
So we recognize two things. First of all, a lot of laughter, so it's funny enough. And secondly, I heard a lot of stories. Sorry. So when we were kids, we didn't apologize for our first drawings. We even didn't ask for permission to show it, so we were showing it all the time. And the question is, why did we lose that, So because right now you just did something in a field you never did before. Maybe some of you can draw something, but most of the people probably can't. So you have no expertise in this field. But you try it, and maybe in the future you shouldn't feel so much sorry about that, but just try it out. And there we are, for some reason, at the topic of beta. So to be honest, we didn't invent that. Tim Brown from IDEO did that, and we just did it last week at the CeBIT Global Conference as well with some more people. Okay, I would like to introduce the beta panel, but first of all, I would like to ask you guys to introduce yourself. You can do it best, hopefully. So maybe ladies first.
Well, ladies first. Hi, my name is Lena. I'm representing also my co-author, Christoph, who's written up there. That's why I'm wearing that fancy jacket, because normally I'm the flower girl. We wrote a book on how startups change society and economy here in Germany. It's called No Business Order. Just been published, German only so far. And like years ago, I started a company called Beta House, which is a co-working space based in also Berlin, but the one I did is based in Hamburg. It's a kind of incubator where startups go to kind of, flourish in a startup-friendly ecosystem. And Christoph, who is not here today, my co-author, he's like the total opposite of me. He did a degree in economics. He worked for an investment bank, consultancy, and all that stuff. And when we actually met, we had both the same questions to how organizations and economy is going to change in future. But we had totally different approaches to it because of the backgrounds we had. And from asking those questions and finding different answers, but like having the same vision, we wrote this book. That's me.
Andreas.
My name is Andreas. I'm working at Partake. Partake is a pretty new venture, only founded last year. we enable our clients to do business innovation. We combine accelerator, incubator, consultancy, and we're trying to tear down all those hierarchical barriers that you guys have been dancing around all day today. And that's a really exciting task that I'm happy to talk about today.
Okay, and finally here.
Hello everybody, my name is Philippe. I'm from the company Regus. For those of you who don't know Regus, we are the global market leader in flexible office space. I'm based in Zurich, but I take care of for the German market, the Swiss markets, and the Austrian market. We heard it this morning, Dach, called in the German part of Europe.
Okay, so this time I'm just the host, so I shouldn't talk too much. It's up to you, of course, also to ask questions. So whenever you have one, just raise your hand. But otherwise, I, of course, prepared something. There's, when we are approaching different clients, we sense that most of the time, a lot of people think these things might vanish again. So if you talk about change, they think about, okay, this is just a fashion, so it goes away. So all this digitalization and stuff like that. So of course, a beta culture refers to something where we say, okay, there is a fundamentally changing the way we do business in the future. And we think from that perspective, of course, it's important to see what kind of new business model is that, how business is done in the future. Do we need these huge corporations we have from the past to do business, or do we need some more flexible, smaller entities? Beta culture, at least here in the German-speaking countries, is always a bit referred to these nice tiny startups as well. So probably some of you also might think this is something, one guy has a certain bright idea to do an iPhone app, and then he's doing it, and he makes a startup and gets a 10K funding or stuff like that. Of course, it's a problem of the wording, so maybe we have to rethink that again. But what we think is that this kind of beta culture and beta thinking, but also this kind of startup culture is changing the whole business and not just going away after some time. Lena, maybe you can contribute first, because you wrote a book about the whole thing. You will translate probably in English somewhere. So maybe from your perspective, what you would say are the ingredients for that revolution?
Well, that's a difficult task to answer that question in 2 minutes, because it took us more than 300 pages of a book to actually explain the whole thing.
Top 3, maybe.
The top 3. Well, what happens out there is, well, there's 2 things. The first thing is there has been a bubble before that did burst in 2000, and a lot of people went bankrupt. And in Germany, most of the time, those people would hide somewhere and never come up again, because we don't have a culture of failure. Whereas, luckily enough, in most other countries, people would, hide for a while, rethink the stuff, and then get going again. And why would they? Is it because they wouldn't have any other chance, so that's the only thing they're good at? Or is it because there is a bigger kind of, not a revolution, but an evolution out there that people, kind of, thrive on and work with? And this is what we found out when we started our book. Is, first of all, we worked with startups and did a lot of research among startups, thinking, well, what's the essence here? Why do people start businesses all the time, and why can't they stop once they started to? This is why there's so many serial entrepreneurs out there. Well, we actually found out it has nothing to do with the startups, and this is why our title is slightly misleading. It's not startups that change society and economy, but the other way around. The way economy and society has changed basically since the 60s, 70s, makes us want to work differently. And since most of the big corporations do not find answers yet to how we actually want to work, which is actually really do something we really love, something we believe in, that's sustainable, something that we do see a meaning in. which is something my father talked about, and he was one of those hippies that, you know, was against the establishment. And now there is a generation that through the internet gets a tool that can actually start living those thoughts my father had, and he became a professor at a really old university, so he got caught in the old system, but now we have a tool to actually start a new system, and that's what we're doing. So actually the way the developments that are out there make us start our own companies all the time, so we can actually do something we believe in and we really actually thrive with. That was pretty much short, 300 pages.
300 pages.
I would still invite everyone to read the book. It's much
Buy the
more.
book.
I especially like the notion of that as related to my former talk, that it's nothing new, almost nothing is new nowadays. There's a reference in the past for most of the things. And talking about not so much the past, but Philippe, Regus is always being the biggest and it's getting bigger and bigger. You told me 75% market share, which is
Even more, I would say.
probably even more. Maybe tomorrow it's even 80%. So how do you deal with these? Do you get these inquiries from your clients who say, we want to have it in that way, or more innovative and challenging work environment, or are they happy with just rent space wherever in the world?
Well, it depends. We have all kinds of inquiries, and there are clients, especially I'm taking care of the large clients that we have, the largest clients, and they are challenging in many ways. It's not only how they want to have the office, but what they want to have installed, where they want to have it, and so on. So there are different products basically or services that Regus offers. But I think the most important thing nowadays is that due to the technology change, people get mobile, people get flexible. This leads to a point that productivity goes up, people can work wherever they want, whenever they want. Now, this is the good part of the story. The bad part of the story, it's hard to manage flexibility, and it's hard to manage companies that are working flexibly. Now, Regus is here basically to support these companies, maybe startups, maybe large companies, to work flexibility better. How do we do this? First of all, it's a network. Currently we have 1,600 business centers worldwide, still growing. We want to be there where our customers need us. So this could be an example from London and surroundings, Guildford, Leatherhead, not only London, but also the outskirts. So we want to be there where they need us, point one. Point two, we want to provide a service in a business center that our customers can focus on their work and on their work only, and not taking care of all the administrative stuff and all the other stuff around an office. And the third thing which we provide as well is basically that we tried to track mobility. What means track mobility? We have developed a new service where corporation can track their employees, their mobile employees, meaning they can track where did this person go, what did this person consume, and how much did it cost. So, to give an example, a consultant in London is going to Canary Wharf in the center of Regus, stays there 2 hours in a meeting room, then leaves, then goes to Trafalgar Square, has there an office for 1 hour, and then goes back to the headquarters or home or to the next meeting. So our systems can track this. So there are several advantages. First of all, the financial departments of these large corporations can forecast the budget. So what has been spent on meeting rooms in 2013? What has been spent on office in 2013? What has been spending on business lounges in 2013? So they can forecast and budget for 2014, for the next year. So this makes the whole mobile working more transparent. And on the other hand, I mean, we heard trust is important. Mobility, when mobility comes into play, then trust is important. You have to be dedicated to your company and so on. That's nice. But if I have a team of 5 people and I don't see them ever because they're salespeople, they have to be outside. But sometimes I would like to know where they are, what they do, and so on. So these people have also transparency of or insight of what their employees are doing. So basically, this person has had a meeting there, this person was in an office there, and so on. And this helps to organize mobility and flexibility a bit. And in the end, what we want to do, and this is due to our founder and CEO, Mr. Dixon, who 20 years ago already anticipated that flexibility and mobility will be a key to business. And he nowadays is already in 2030 thinking about new ways of working in the future.
That's too far away.
And that's too far away. But nowadays, what we want to do, basically, we want to give all the clients what they need. If it's something extraordinary, if it's business continuity, if it's something special, we try to make it possible.
Okay, thank you. I come back to that later, but Andreas, you got quite some publicity about the new way you do your business at Partake, so maybe you can explain it to the audience a bit more.
We don't believe in tracking our employees and controlling, checking on what they're doing and if they're doing it correctly and if how they're doing is the right way. We believe in self-organization. We try to do away with hierarchies as much as possible, and we allow all our employees to work on what they want, with who they want to work, who they want to work with, and where they want to work. Of course, we provide an amazing office space, very lofty and Kudam, very new. That's really nice because we want people wanting to be there, working on something that they want to work on, working with people that they like. So I can do away with all these circumvening technologies, all the monitoring, all the drones that are in the meeting rooms checking if somebody's blowing their nose. That is what we have to do away with. I realize that business with high flexibility requires some technology to just make it work. That's fine. But I don't need a big brother view on work. That's actually what we're trying to get away from, to make people more productive and more creative, and not to have our employees direct so much energy into trying to circumvene technology and then come out smiling because you cheated the company. Let's try to think this new. That's what Partake is all about.
Okay. So I almost hear all the questions you have in mind, probably, because it's quite challenging. You can do what you want, with whom you want, where you want, so it's like almost work.
I hear the giggles, okay?
Yeah.
We'll talk outside.
So any questions to challenge Andreas and ask why this actually works somehow? I'll ask myself, but no?
How do you measure the results? If you have like one key person, everybody wants to work with that person, and then you find like 5 persons and nobody wants to work with them.
It's a market system. You have to compete, and you have to make yourself attractive to be booked into projects. This is still a business, of course, but it's not that I say I'm on the management team and you're going to be on this project for 3 months. That's not how that works anymore. I try to find an interesting project out there, and then I publish it, and I ask who's interested in joining and committing themselves also maybe to a 3-month project. But that's inverting the mechanism of I tell you what to do and I check on you if you did it correct.
But how you match that with a client? So you have a client who wants something, but nobody at your company would like to work for that? So
that's happened.
It's the most obvious question.
That has happened, and we sent the client home. We told him, your project is boring. We found nobody. And most of the time, these are projects that are purely driven by efficiency and checking on people.
Are they coming back and say, we made a better proposal for a project?
They do. It's different. It's a transition time we're living in, and I think all of us represent part of that transition. You have to look at what is really happening and what chance you want to take. There'll always be industries that need efficiency and that need to run efficiently. But does that mean that people have to be robots? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let's try something new, and the results that we're getting from our clients who dare to work with us are positive. What we're finding is that clients, especially larger corporate clients, are happy to temporarily outsource the project to us and run it through our design thinking, new management process, if you will, and then later see if they are going to insource it again or sell it, because they're telling us within our structures we cannot be creative and productive because we're living in a system where technology is checking on us, monitoring what people are doing, limiting productivity, limiting thinking outside the box. So the feedback that we're getting is we're very happy that we can take an idea or a project from within the company and actually take it outside the box and have a living design on what's going to happen there. That's open for people to see what is happening, and not a closed shop where at the end you go, ta-da, here is the eighth wonder of the world.
Okay.
I think we all have moved past believing into systems like this.
Yeah. Okay.
I would quickly like to add, I had the chance to actually get to know Partake through the research to our book. And if I had told you the very same story about how startups work and everyone is working on what he wants, who he wants to work with, if you're not happy with the group you work with, you join another group, you go and join some open source movement, none of you would have giggled. The fun thing about the whole thing is it's a real company that does this very same thing, and this is why people start wondering about how can I control this? How can I make sure everyone is actually doing a job, is actually working on a project, is actually creating value? And you would never wonder this for the same thing if I told you about startups and about open source or other types of networks where people actually create value, earn their money, because at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but I never met a landlord that would actually accept Facebook friends as a currency for a look on how successful I am. He still wants to have money at the end of the month, or actually at the beginning of the month. And as a startup, I have to earn my money. I have to make my projects happen, even though I kind of every day decide new, which is not true, but I decide myself what I want to work on and who I want to work with. And when I had a project with Partake for about half a year, and what I found out is the type of people that work there are kind of entrepreneurs that still don't want to take the risk of being a real entrepreneur. And you have a lot of those types of people in your companies, probably. They're called intrapreneurs. I hate that term, but people that actually have a lot of fun figuring out themselves how to solve a problem and not being told. And if they still feel like they feel insecure about the risk they should take if they had to start their own company, they all meet up there. So it's in kind of what I found out is an alternative or a third way between being an entrepreneur and being a normally employed with all the contracting person.
Okay, so next time somebody is applying at your company who's playing a lot of World of Warcraft, if you know that game, so you should think about, because he's able to coordinate teams worldwide, virtually, no matter you're collecting beans or you're building a car, so it doesn't matter, actually. I saw that we only have a couple of minutes left. Actually, I wanted to ask Philippe another question, but maybe you are first, if you have one. No. Philippe, so despite providing space, of course, and despite the numbers, efficiency, etc., could you give us one or two examples how you deal with this kind of new business approach? So what are you providing in different markets for people who say business in a kind of a sense of beta culture?
Yeah, sure. Well, it depends on what clients you are. So you have different needs, you have different things you expect from Regus or from an office provider. If we go back to a startup company, I mean, I found it really, really interesting to do what you want, where you want, and so on. If you're a startup, maybe you can do that. What we want to provide is not only flexibility, but also security and low risks. We experience a lot of time that startups come to Regus because they don't want to invest a lot of money. Obviously, when you start a business, you look after your budget. So they come to us and they sign up for, let's say, 6 months, 12 months, a very short period of time. So they have less risk. They have everything they need. They have a professional work environment. They might have even a great address. They can choose the address where they want to be. And then can work predictively. And we support them in everything we do. So basically, they focus on developing their business, and we take care of all the other parts. So they can use their time more efficiently. On the other hand, with large corporations, it's getting more complex. We are running projects where a large customer needs office space for 6 months because he's running a project with 80 people. So this, of course, from a logistics point, is much more complicated because they have specific needs and specific setup needs as well. I mean, our normal customer has 2 to 4 persons, starts a business. When it grows up to 10, 15 people, they leave us. That's the basic normal customer. Now, when you have large customers, of course, and they want to be in an open plan office, we have offices, 2, 4-person offices, maybe 6-person offices, but we don't have 20, 40, so we have to remove walls, etc. From a logistics point, it's much more complicated, and it's much more money involved. And that's why dealing with large accounts is interesting, because they're coming with big scale, massive people, but then organizing everything for them is a bit more complicated. Also security-wise, we have clients, banking clients who want to install security cameras, who want a dedicated space. We have clients who want to have own batch systems and so on. So it depends a bit what you need.
Okay. So famous last words from you?
Just
the most delightful, probably.
An appeal. Just try to think outside the box. It is simply not true that flexible, humane work needs a hierarchy, needs efficiency, like we've always been told. You know, creativity, oh, that's for a nice little startup company. Don't believe in that. Once you open the door, the floodgates will open, and young people will be attracted to you again because they see that you're actually valuing what they like to do and what they can do, and that you're not trying to put them into your corporate mold and produce a lot of clones out of them. So that's my famous last words. Thank you.
I have the last words. No, yeah, maybe it's a good point to connect to. So that as a computer took over, or technology took over the physical work, as we know, now it takes over a large portion of our brain work, so what we do. So we ourselves have to ask ourselves, okay, what's the purpose of what we are doing? And this exactly relates to what Andreas was pointing out. So we are humans and not technology and not digital nerds or something. So thank you very much to all of you three. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the day.